don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. So, MA, what did you do this morning?
Oh, well, so mornings here are pretty wild. I wake up at 4:22 because that time suits me, and I do a few workouts and came home, got the kids ready. Our daughter is home, well, she's virtual learning, but she's doing it in a school, commercial house that we're calling a schoolhouse with a teacher and 5 other students. So we shuttled her over there, and my other 2 kids are still in the house, but I think they're going to start preschool soon at our church. So kind of a typical crazy morning, and it's still morning. So
They're so cute. I mean, I see them all over your Instagram, and they're the cutest kids I've ever seen.
They really are. You have no shortage of personality in your family, MA, and I know you love that.
it is fun. It keeps it interesting.
Yeah,
I love that.
So
I love
good.
that.
That's
So,
awesome. Fantastic.
MC, it looks like folks have started to hop on, and I know that we do want to kind of acknowledge why we're doing this on Thursday instead of our normal Friday slot. So I will let you take it away.
Yeah, so basically, guys, we just thought, we all remember September 11th, and we thought that since tomorrow is the anniversary, that we would kind of refrain from doing anything as fun and light as having a wonderful guest like MA. We would do that today. And, we were just talking, Meg and I were talking earlier. I mean, MA, where were you on September 11th when the attacks happened?
Yeah, I went to Virginia Episcopal School for high school,
Yeah.
and I was there, and they called us all into chapel kind of unexpectedly and told us what happened. And yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that moment and going back to my dorm and seeing girls huddled. And we had one student in my dorm who was from DC, and so she was, it was pretty chaotic. It was hectic and scary. What about you? Where were you ladies?
Yeah. It's so funny, as you were just talking, I mean, I have the chills, like, just thinking about, Meg, where were you?
I was in my second grade classroom.
Yeah.
But
I'm so old.
I know, oh gosh. Well, I lived in Ohio at the time, so they obviously weren't completely sure what was going to happen next, so we had to evacuate the school, and as I'm sure a lot of people did around the whole world, but we actually walked to school because everyone's school there is in their neighborhood. So I remember my parents coming to get me, and we walked home, and just a lot of confusion and a lot of sadness, even for a second grader. Ugh. Yeah. What about you, MC?
I had just graduated from college, so I love that Meg was in her second grade classroom. Hello. But I was working for my first job. I was working for Explorus in Raleigh, which is now Marvel's Kids Museum, and I was the director of their camp programs. So I had this sabbatical in the fall, and I was on the way to the airport. I was flying to Nepal. I was going there to kind of work with a friend of mine who's British, who lives in London. We were going there for a few months, and then of course, turned around and came home. And I remember all my bags were around me and sitting down in my parents' house. Right. They were driving me to the airport and just watching it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And end up like stuck somewhere.
You're exactly right, MA. You're exactly right. Yeah, I could have been stuck anywhere. Yeah. So anyway, I just, I know we're all remembering right now, and that is why we've chosen to do this on Thursday. And so we really do have a treat for you guys today. We have M.A. Allen here. If you have not heard of M.A., just Google her. Just Google her. That's all I got to say, because you'll find all sorts of amazing images and just wonderful things to check out. If you follow her on Instagram, it's just the most fabulous combination of her kids and kind of what she's eating and these delicious foods and what's happening with her nutrition and her workouts and her beach house. And just, she just finished this incredible home project that is her own family's home in Raleigh. So that's been really fun to watch also. So anyway, MA is just a treasure trove of gorgeous things to look at and great things to follow. So MA, we're thrilled to have you here.
Well, thank you. That was such a build up. I hate for all of your followers once they me now. But yes, I mean, I have such an appreciation for you, Mary Cheatham, and what you and all of your lovely ladies and the girl gang do down on the coast, which is my home away from home and just my happiest place, Atlantic Beach and Morehead City. So I'm so glad that we have this friendship. from afar half the year and
Yes.
from together half the year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think, so much kind of course, what we do and what we love is all around homes. And so, we really kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what you are seeing in home design trends. Gosh, y'all, it's so crazy to think that this is the last month of the third quarter. I mean, Meg, we talk about this a lot in our business. The fourth quarter, I mean, that's when it's time to ramp up, right? Make your plan for the next year. And so it's crazy to think about, 2021 design trends. And so just kind of what are some trends that you're seeing with your clients and some things that you incorporated into your home? And that can be with design stuff or with build, more architectural details.
Sure. I do feel like right now we have a lot of construction projects and remodel projects that are underway. So my head is just kind of more in the actual space planning, house plans than it is in the decorating side. I mean, it's about 50-50, but in thinking about trends right now, I think the pandemic is it's good. It's definitely, I mean, it's going to end, but it's causing trends that I think are going to last. And, I was just on a call with some clients today and they were saying, we know this is going to end and we can go back to our office, but it's two wives and they work together. And they're like, you know what, we might not want to go back to our office. So we're kind of planning for that here. And, even in this house, we bought an old house. We never would have built the house this way because this is supposed to be a closet and now it has a computer in it. Thanks, COVID. But I'm in my office and then through those doors is my husband's study, which is his office. Right. And never would you ever build like a his and hers study before COVID, but here we are and we have it. It's been like such a blessing for us through this because I had to start working from home. My husband's still working from home. So it really worked out. And so I think we're going to start to see more homes incorporating that really separate, like his and hers workspaces or, both partners, like the two ladies that I'm working with. So I think we are going to see more of that. Sculleries, whether they're related to COVID or not, they're really not. It's more related, I think, to entertaining. And I think people are still coming to us and they're talking about how they entertain and what it's like when they have a big party and when the chef comes in, we do this. And I think everyone is so anxious to be back to that lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're still really designing a lot of houses with like sculleries or this auxiliary kitchen component. And for me during COVID, that's been amazing here because it's right off of our mudroom. So at first, when I thought I could catch the virus from groceries, they would like come in the door and they'd go in the scullery, get cleaned, sanitized, all the fruit gets washed there, and then it goes either in there or to the kitchen. So having these kind of auxiliary kitchen spaces where messy things can happen if you are entertaining, but wanting to have that kind of more open kitchen to family room flow. I think that's a really nice option, something we're going to see more and more of, and a good place too for like putting the microwave or a toaster oven or, any of those countertop things that no one really wants to see. Right. Other trends, gyms. Oh my gosh, home gyms. And I know I love the fitness stuff, but people want it. So we were getting a lot of calls about like, well, how do I add one in? Or should we just I think a lot of people have been like finishing out their garages or just putting in like nicer flooring in their garage and like kind of carving out a more dedicated workout space there. So I think we'll kind of continue to see that. I mean, I've certainly noticed that working out at home saves a lot of time for me that I'd normally be kind of traveling from one place to the next.
And can you tell us a little bit about your home gym? Because I see it on Instagram again, and it is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a really small space. And so we kind of finished off the basement here in this house. And there was, I think it was a bomb shelter that was originally built as part of the house in the 60s. So it was like, it has all like block walls. And so I didn't move any walls around in there. I just put in some really cool like cork flooring, put drywall on top of the cinder block so it doesn't look like cinder block room anymore. The low voltage guys had to put up some kind of a internet thing on the wall. And then it's just kind of trimmed out in a way so that the whole room looks paneled, but then they're inset mirrors. So on two walls, a ballet bar. I know I see Mary Cheatham at Downtown Bar when I was at the
Yep.
So this morning I was regretting putting that bar in because my trainer makes everything impossible when the bar is his little tool. So anyway, but yeah, it's been a good space and it's it's just nice to be able to, when you're just spending all this time in your own home, to be able to actually use these different rooms. I think people are using their dining rooms more. You know, people are just wanting to kind of travel within their own house.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think it's so interesting because I think a lot of the trends that you're talking about, it's been really fun because I think those relate to following along with the project that you've been doing at your house. It's interesting how many of those, just like you mentioned, are maybe at the adjustment, of course, of your closet now turning into your ladies lounge / office, right? But, you know, just watching that happen. And one of the questions I have for you too is, what about color? I mean, I know that you are a huge fan of color. I mean, look at the colors that we can just see in the background, and look at that incredible wall color. Right. I mean, so do you feel like that there is trending around color when you're working with a client? Do you take that into account, or are you really looking at kind of their taste and what speaks to you about them? What factors into those decisions?
It is 100% them first. You know, it's just like, I'm sure when you're helping someone who's, you know, on the market, it's, you know, this is not my house, this is your house, but let me make it how better than you could do it on your own. Like, I'm not going to just come here and serve up, you know, some picture off Pinterest. Like, let me make it better than that. But we have some clients right now that are like neutrals only, and they want gray and white and oak, and, you know, you would see it and you would still know, I think, that I was behind it, but you would be surprised there was no color. And then a lot of people, I think, see that I like color personally, so they come to us for color. And so we do what we do with the color and pattern and the mix. And so, but it's all fun, and it's all, you know, I love mixing. You know, if we do an all neutral home, what we're working with is texture and materials. And it's still that, I think it's always that tension that's created between something that's old and something that's new, and something that's nubby with something that's super smooth and polished, or a wood and a marble that's, you know, a really rough hewn wood with a really nice crisp polished marble. So I think it's really that tension that's kind of the constant. So whether color comes in or not, it's still always just balancing these elements and disparate pieces.
I love that visual.
I know. I love that. That's so cool. That makes me so happy. Tell me this. So I think that, you know, I mean, we are, you know, I know you guys have a bunch of ladies that work with you too, and you guys have a very heavy presence on social media. You know, you're obviously, gosh, you're very, you know, your aesthetics are hugely important, and you're conveying those to clients and to folks who are kind of checking you out. And yet, if you follow you, MA, on Instagram, you know, it's so much of it is, and I love it because so much of it is, again, like I said earlier, it's, you know, it's, I'm always fascinated with what you're wearing, or, you know, you're saying, hey, I figured out this great recipe, or here's something that I found that I'm, you know, that I'm cooking right now, or, you know, this is some information about a workout I'm doing, or it's just, you know, it's Lil riding her scooter. You know, I mean, you know, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, you know, it's, you know, it's all these different things, you know, that everything that's going on. I mean, I feel like that I know Fisher and Lula and Lil, I mean, you know, just from following along. So what was that a conscious decision that you made to make it so that people who follow along with you are also kind of a part of what's happening in your real life?
Yeah, you know, I think that's just kind of the way it's evolved. Like, you know, Instagram for me has always just been like a fun thing. Right. And probably like one of my main goals is I want to design product. And so at one juncture, I'd flown to Atlanta and I met with some people and taken some product designs. And one thing that I took away from that meeting was they said, you know, these are really good designs, but if you have like X number of followers on Instagram, and that's when I didn't know anyone who would say like, oh, if you have, you know, 5,000 followers on Instagram, then, you know, you have a platform. But he said that to me and I was like, well, by golly, I'm going to get a platform then. And so all I did is I was like, okay, well, if I want to have a platform and I'm just going to post regularly because that's what people say to do. So I'll just post more regularly. And so I just made a conscious effort to post more regularly. And usually it was interiors, and then, you know, and then it's family. And so that was really the only conscious effort that was ever made. And since then, I think it just became, then stories were introduced at some point. Like, I feel like when that happened, stories didn't exist. And so for me, stories were great because it's like, oh, I'm happy to share, like, you know, behind the scenes and things that interest me about the process and things that people are asking me about offline. Like, I'm happy to share that. And it's so easy with stories, because I don't think people are really judgy about, oh, that story was not a pretty photo, or
Yeah.
it was professionally shot with natural light. So I think just kind of having like the freedom in stories and just sharing these things has been that's probably how it started and kind of became what it became. And then a lot of people just ask questions, and I have like friends on Instagram that I've never met before in my life. One lady, I call her the president of the Fisher fan club, because like there's like Team Fisher, Team Lula, Team Will. Like they're people that are very much like love one kid or the other. It's funny, but I made all these friends, and some are like, oh my gosh, my daughter has eczema too. Like, I can't believe the diet helped. You don't do steroids. Like, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? So you kind of start to share more, because you kind of have this like community of people that we follow each other and we want to help each other out. So then some days if I feel like, designing someone's third home somewhere isn't very good for my heart, or I just don't feel like a good person, then at least someone else is messaging me offline on Instagram that they do yoga at lunch every day now, and they've got a whole new lease on life. And then I'm like, well, I helped her,
Yes, that's really smart.
She's not about the
I love that, MA. I think that's so. I think that's so awesome, and I think it's interesting, because I think that what you're really saying is that your strategy is really lack of a strategy. It's really just coming from the heart, and I think that's really endearing, and I think that really it seems very authentic, and I think that's what makes it fun to follow, because it's not contrived. It just is natural, and so anyway, I really enjoy it, and I wondered kind of about the background on that. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
The people that I enjoy following on myself are people where you never know. Like, if I press her story, what am I going to see? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Well, you do a great job at that. And, one of the things also that following you on stories tells us is that you have, I don't know how many hands you have, but you have a hand in everything. You're doing all these different things. How do you juggle all that?
Well, back at you,
It's true.
Yes. I don't know how you do all you do. And I think the big thing is that we as women, and especially women in business, we expect so much of ourselves, and we know that we can do it all. And then I think we also feel that other people in our lives and in our network expect us to do it all. And so I just always, when people ask this question, I always like to say, like, I really am not doing it all well, and I'm really not doing it all, and you're not either, so don't try. But, you start every day, like, look at the calendar. What do I have coming up? I schedule everything. Like, and with all these Zoom meetings, I practically have to schedule like bathroom breaks, because I'll just be rolling from one to the next, So have it in the calendar, review it the night before, set your plan for the day. You've got a to-do list. It's never all going to happen. So have some things that absolutely, the star beside, these things have to happen. Everything else is, just gravy, and just kind of chop away at it like that. And I have a huge support system. I mean, like Mary Cheatham, I've got an amazing team, like the most talented and just wonderful, fun to be around women, and we're all together. And that's everything. And then at home, I've got an amazing nanny who's been with us since Lil was 6 months old, like couldn't do anything without her. My husband does like everything under the sun. So he is huge help. So, I mean, it's really just, we're all just kind of passing the ball back and forth and getting through the day.
I love that. And I think that's so good. That's such a nice, because I mean, I think that's such a great reminder too, is that, we really, I mean, you're right. We can't do it all. And so I think that all we can do is do the very best we can. And I loved you identifying. I think that's actually a really good tip that people shouldn't overlook, which is look the night before and identify. I always call them your big rocks. Identify your big rocks. Somebody said that to me one time, that, if you have several big rocks and then tons of little ones, if you put the little ones in first, literally, if you put them in a container, there's no room for the big ones. You can't shove the big ones in there. But if you put the big ones in first and then fill it with the little ones all around it, you can fit a lot of stuff in there.
It's good.
Right? I thought that was really good. And to me, it makes sense too, because it's not only time, but it's also brain space and emotional energy that if you can identify what are the things that you have to get done to take that unseen weight off your shoulders, to take that feeling of, I haven't done what I needed to do today. If you can identify what those things are, you're halfway there. I mean, in my opinion, because sometimes they're not what you think they are. You know,
Yeah.
you lug something around for days, you know.
Yeah, you got to unpack it.
Right.
Shoe in the dryer.
Yeah,
That's
something else.
dryer. That's right.
Chester, back here in his office, I can hear him chatting up. But he taught me a long time ago. He goes, "There's something you're dreading doing." He said, "You wake up and you do that thing first thing that morning." And I was like, "Well, that's brilliant." Like, if there's been some kind of an issue or there's something you need to, dig into or call a client and talk through it, it's like, you are absolutely right. Why am I going to wait all day and be anxious about it, or just dread being the bearer of bad news or whatever this issue is, if I just do it first thing, and it's never as bad as you think it'll be, or sometimes the reaction is not as bad as you think it will be, and you go on.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so true. I think
Big
that's
rock.
so true. Yeah, that's it. Well, Meg, I know that we have got some rapid fire. Meg is the rapid fire queen. She's so good at it. So, Emma, do you mind if we ask you some rapid fire questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Wonderful. So anything that comes to mind first, feel free to just spit it out when you hear the question. So our first one, speaking of kind of your morning routine, other than looking forward to what you have during the day schedule wise, what is one thing that you do every morning that sets up your day for success?
Exercise.
And that was the briefest answer we've ever had.
I love that. Emma understands rapid fire. We can do rapid fire with like slowpoke answers, which are adorable and great and wonderful, and we've loved it. But I love a rapid fire with a rapid fire.
Me too. Okay, so you said fitness. So what is one nutrition non-negotiable that you have every day?
No sugar.
No sugar. Okay. And going off of fitness and nutrition, I always think of you when I think of fashion. So what is kind of your design style in a couple of words with what you wear?
Collected.
And what would you say your design style is for interior design? How would you describe it?
Collected.
But you're so consistent. What is your favorite space or your favorite room to design in a house?
Ooh, that's hard. I love designing a kitchen just from like the functional piece of it, and just really breaking down how people cook and what they have and where it's going, and just making it perfect. And then, maybe a bedroom. I feel like bedrooms always get a lot of fabric and curtains and bedding, and I love just putting all the details and love into those items to make them unique.
I love that. So going off of that, when you get a project handed to you or you meet with a new client, where do you start? What's your first step?
First step is we'll do a programming meeting. So it's like plan review and programming, just depending if it's like construction or just decorating. And I just finished one of these on Zoom actually, and I just go room by room by room by room and just break people down, asking questions like, well, where do you put that? Oh, you go bowling. Where's your bowling ball? Where do you keep, how many bowling balls do you have? Whatever it is, people think that they're just like everybody else, but everybody's got their own things and their own way of doing things. And you kind of have to figure it out and break it apart and, design for them, but from scratch in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So what's your biggest career challenge that you found?
Ooh, probably just managing it all.
Yeah.
There are just days where I'm just like, enough.
Yeah. Well, what's your biggest career win in your opinion? To wrap up the rapid fire questions, biggest career win.
Probably just like hearing from clients, like, we just love our house. We love our house. I think that is just the positive feedback from the people that we've worked with. That just, I'm sure like you guys, when someone comes back and they're like, you were right. We picked the right house. We're so happy here. Like, it's very personal when you're working with someone on their home, and you're learning about everything everyone in their family and their idiosyncrasies and where they put their underwear and all this stuff. It's like very personal. And so then in the end of a project, or a few years down, and they're just like, we still love it. It's like perfect. And what we really love is this and that. And I think that is what makes everything worthwhile.
100%. And we Mary Cheatham and I were nodding our heads off while you were saying that. And it's so interesting that kind of no matter what industry you're in. I know we're in similar industries, but I mean, it's always about the people that you're helping. And I think it's always really cool to hear people just go back to that about like, that's the best part of their job, is hearing how happy that these people are that they chose to work with you and whatnot. So that's certainly a really, really positive part of our job as well. Mary Cheatham, would you like to ask our final question to MA? I know she's got to skedaddle, so we will.
I know. So MA, our favorite question that we ask our guests is, what is saving your life right now?
My husband.
Oh.
Did you say that because he just walked by? You thought no.
Anytime that I'm in this room, I flash back like to the beginning of COVID, because I brought my desktop in here. I hadn't planned to ever have one in here, and I started working so hard from this computer, just trying to manage my team, keep my people happy. I was worried about them. I was worried about the world. I was trying to keep my jobs on track. I was going out to meet in the field because construction was like full throttle, and I thought that if I got the virus, I would die. And I was just so scared. And I was also, our nanny has terrible asthma, so she was gone. We had no one except just Chester and myself and these 3 kids, and I'm trying to run my business, and he's trying to work, and he taught school. So I would like lesson plan at night and set up the computer for him. He's not very technologically savvy, but I would do all that. And then all day he would like teach little school, kindergarten. I was like, oh my God, what would I do without you? Like, I could never do this. So definitely, I think more than ever, I'm just so thankful to have had a teammate in this crazy time.
I love that.
I love that. I think that's so good. And you know what's interesting, y'all, is MA, talk about a trend. I'm telling you, I think that a lot of people are feeling that way, and it makes me it makes me kind of tear up a little bit just to think. I mean, I feel like that's something that is such a silver lining from all this, is that we've had to rely on each other, and you've had to really rely on your partner or your friends or your family, the people that you're in this with, the people that you're relying on, that ones that you're actually seeing and that you're talking to every day. I mean, this has been hard. And so I think relationships have really been strengthened, and I think we realize that we need each other. And I think that's, I don't know. I love hearing that. So anyway, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you guys are such an incredible couple, and we sure do appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today.
Oh, well, I was flattered to be asked, and I've enjoyed chatting with you both.
Thank you, MA.
Thanks, MA. We will see you at the beach.
Yes, this weekend.
I love that. Happy Friday. Y'all travel safely down here.
Bye, MA.
Bye.
Oh, she's lovely.
That was so good. And don't you think, I mean, it's interesting that that's something that I feel like I hear that echo, and I feel it too at my house. But I don't know, I really like it.
Me too. Most people that we've asked the what's saving your life question always in some way responds my partner or my husband or my wife or whomever. And it's really great. It's really great to hear.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I love that. So have you thought about your answer to what's saving your life? I really haven't thought about it. I'm a little bit nervous.
I have. Mine's very simple, but I was able last weekend to get out of town and celebrate one of my dear friends, Maddie, for her wedding coming up in October. So we got to go and have a fun time. And it was just so nice to kind of get out of my house, sleep in a different room. It was really, really nice. So we had a great time, and I'm glad to be back, but it was a nice little vacay.
Well, I love that. I think that's so good. That's wonderful.
What about you?
I think, I think that really what's been saving my life, we've had some changes on our team. We've had kind of some growth. We've had some new team members join us. We've had some folks that have shifted around within the roles on our team. And I think that, I don't know, it feels like that we're finally, getting to the bottom of some things that we've needed to get to the bottom of for a while. We're all working so hard to keep everybody happy and keep things moving forward. And sometimes it's hard. It's really hard to stop what you're doing, whether it's in your family or at work or wherever. But it is the shoe in the dryer, Meg. Mm-hmm. It's the things. It's like not just the big rocks for the day, but the big rocks for for your goals or for your business or for your home, for your life. So I think we've really been stopping for our team and really trying to figure those things out. And we've been laughing. We've been having these really long meetings that I have been calling excruciating, but also but also extremely productive. I know I was saying my eye starts to twitch if I have to sit still for too long. But we've really been getting through some things, and I think creating something that's going to be even better for our clients. And I think that's the most important thing, just like MA was saying, so that we'll be even more effective, that they'll come back to us later and say, that was an awesome experience, and we found the perfect place, or that sale went so smoothly and so well for our family because we were ready for them.
Exactly. And I keep picturing a puzzle, and we have all the pieces. We're just snapping them into place little by little. And it's really satisfying when something clicks and we kind of reconfigure a new system, or a new team member steps in here or whatnot. So it's really fun to watch as a team member, just to see everything click into place, because you're right. It's all for our clients and the ease of their process with us. So
that's exactly right. That's right. Well, I think as we wrap up, I just want to say one more time that, we are thinking of everybody who was impacted by September 11th. And, gosh, I know we all remember it, and I know this is something that's going to be with us for forever. So anyway, thinking of all those who lost people, friends and family on that day. And anyway, we,
Well, thank you for recording with me on Thursday. I will look forward to seeing you on our regular Zoom call tomorrow for our team meeting. But until then, I hope you have a great Thursday and Thursday evening.
That sounds great. Thanks. You too.
Bye, MC.
Bye.